Coming up on the Paper Talk today, we'll be talking about Bryan Mbeumo, obviously, because we talk about him every single day. There's a deadline. The deadline is today. Is he going to sign on this deadline day? Let's get into it and find out. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and the weather is mild, it's fine, you won't need your parkers. Loads of stories to get through, so we'll crack on. Before we do though, make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. 900,000 subscribers, that is the next target, and with your support, yes you, will get there. A lot of the news this morning, or the noise this morning, is about Bryan Mbeumo. I'm going to get onto him in a second. First of all though, Viktor Gyokeres. The latest thing I saw on this, or latest update, was a here we go soon to Arsenal from Fabrizio Romano. So by the time you're watching this, there's a good chance we've had a here we go and he's already on his way to the Emirates. It definitely looks like it's happening. Manchester United felt we're never really in for him. I said myself, after speaking to many journalists, including Laurie on the channel, spoke to Carl Ang, we spoke to loads of different journalists, it felt like the only way Manchester United were going to get Gyokeres is if no one else really came in for him and we tried to do a sort of last minute deal. Arsenal were in for Benjamin Sesko. They're now in for Gyokeres. It seems as though that's going to happen. He has fallen out with Sporting Lisbon. Doesn't want to go, Sporting. Doesn't want to go back there. Arsenal coming in for him. So it looks like he's heading there, which means he isn't coming to Manchester United, if you're wondering why we're even talking about Gyokeres. It just felt like people were looking at it and going, well, he's played for Ruben Amorim. United need goals. It all makes sense. But United haven't even got the money to get the Bryan Mbeumo deal over the line. So where we're going to find 60 odd million quid for Viktor Gyokeres, who does want Arsenal, according to all the sources we've spoken to, well, all the sources we've spoken to, anyone who's reported it, then it seemed very unlikely he was going to come to Manchester United, like I said, unless other teams were in for him. But Arsenal are, and it looks like he's heading there, so we can close the book on that one. Now, Bryan Mbeumo, what is going on? I am absolutely, and I'm sure you are, sick of reporting about Bryan Mbeumo without anything changing on that front. The latest news is today is deadline day, an internal deadline, if you can call it that, from Manchester United. The reports are from Manchester Evening News and elsewhere that United said we want him by the 7th of July. The 7th of July is when we want to get the Bryan Mbeumo deal done, get him into training, full pre-season, gets to know his teammates, all that jazz, gets to know the manager. It's perfect. However, we're on the 7th of July. And it hasn't happened. So it doesn't look like he's going to sign on this deadline, if you can call it that, at all. Now, it doesn't look like the deal is over or dead or anything like that. I'm not going to get all melodramatic and say, oh, well, because we haven't signed him by this sort of imaginary deadline, then that means the deal's off. It's just a little bit frustrating. It is frustrating from a Manchester United point of view because we know how poor we were last season. We finished 15th. We need reinforcements. We need to strengthen. So far, we brought in Matheus Cunha. Early door signing, signed him on the 1st of June, good stuff, buyout clause. We tried to space it out for 5 years. Wolves said no, it's over 2. We got it done. Fantastic. Diego Leon, we knew we were signing him. That deal was arranged months ago. He's been confirmed over the weekend as a Manchester United player. Looks like a good, decent young left back, but, and this isn't having a dig at him, he's not the sign that's going to catapult us up the table. He's more one for the future. Someone like Bryan Mbeumo, alongside Matheus Cunha, makes sense. It'd be a deal that actually makes people look and go, okay, United are moving forward. But so far, it hasn't happened. And so far, other clubs have done business. I just spoke about Arsenal there, bringing in, or on the verge of bringing in, Viktor Gyokeres. City have brought in Cherki and Antony and one or two others as well. They're going big, aren't they, in the transfer window? We know Liverpool have brought in Florian Wirtz. They've brought in, is it Kirkes and Jeremy Frimpong as well. Some real quality there going into the Liverpool team. Chelsea always do bits in the transfer window. We know where they're going to go. Turbos, they always do. Manchester United are in danger here of just not getting closer to our rivals at all. So I'm not going to panic about Bryan Mbeumo. There's still a lot of the transfer window left. But we do want to get this deal done. Now, some of it, in terms, maybe not this deal, but in terms of future transfer business during this window, may depend on outgoings. We may have to move some players on. I understand all that. The Manchester Evening News have done a little bit of a roundup. They were talking about the fact that Marcus Rashford could be heading to Barcelona. I think it was Florian Plettenberg, who we've speaking to, that's not the right word, who we've spoken to quite a few times over the years on this channel. He was saying that the Barcelona interest is there. They're not going to get Luis Diaz, or they feel they're not going to get Luis Diaz. They're not going to get Nico Williams. So they are keen on Marcus Rashford. Whether that deal can happen remains to be seen. He's on massive money. Now, he does seem to know his future doesn't like Old Trafford. His number's been given to Matheus Cunha. There were reports that he wanted to leave United, that he said he wanted to leave United. There's been a little bit of pushback on that. I think Henry Winter was saying that it's not a case if he wants to leave United, it's a case he knows he's got no future at United. He knows that Ruben Amorim doesn't rate him and doesn't think he can work with him. So as long as Ruben Amorim's the manager, Marcus Rashford ain't going to be playing for Manchester United. Ruben Amorim is the manager, so Marcus Rashford needs to move on. So maybe a move to Barcelona would work if we can make that happen. Obviously, wages are an issue. Are Barcelona going to pay the money that Manchester United want for him? I don't know. It might even be a loan move. We'll have to wait and see. A loan move isn't perfect, and it doesn't give us the necessary funds to go out and buy someone else, but maybe you just need to get him off the wage bill because his wages are so high. Now, in terms of Antony, he's another player that's been linked with a move away from Manchester United. The reports there are that he could end up going to Real Betis, or he should, or probably will end up going to Real Betis, I should say. And United are looking at lowering their asking fee for him. I think the fee was around 35 million. It's going to go down to around 30 million because Real Betis, despite the fact they really want Antony, because he had a very good loan spell there, they can't afford him. They haven't got much money, or they certainly haven't got the kind of money where they can spend £40 million or £35 million even on a player, so it may have to be closer to 30 million to get that deal done. I mentioned this yesterday about how it might be the loan to buy deal, this sort of thing where we both own him. I know it sounds a little bit off its head, but that seems to be an option that is being explored. As always, we'll keep you posted. I did mention this yesterday. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Loads of reports over different newspapers, the Mail, the Mirror, elsewhere, that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is on United's radar. He's a free agent. United looking at him as a potential option. I'm not too keen on this move myself. I think it's a bit of a pointless step. Yes, he's got Premier League experience. Yes, he has scored goals in the past. But last season, I think he scored, was it 1 in his last 24 games, something like that. Had a big injury during the middle of the season as well. He has had injury issues, although his last couple of seasons haven't been as bad as the seasons before that. It doesn't do it for me. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and the comments. And one final one as well. Douglas Luiz. Been a couple of reports, stories doing the rounds. I think Goal, Give Me Sport, and one or two others have been mentioning him as a potential swap deal with Jadon Sancho. Doesn't seem to be a lot in it, if I'm being honest. It's one of those where you look at it and go, he's a good midfielder. He's got Premier League experience, did well at Aston Villa, could have been the answer. Hasn't been doing well at Juve, and they're ready to get rid of him, but maybe that could suit Manchester United. It feels a little bit more logical, like, oh, well, that could make sense, rather than there's anything in it, if you get what I mean. Doesn't seem like the club have really made any moves to sign Douglas Luiz, and it doesn't feel like there's any movement there. If there is, we will keep you posted. Obviously, we need to move Jadon Sancho on. Ideally, you'd want to get some money in for him, and then you can go out and buy some more players. But if we're not getting Viktor Gyokeres, are we going to cut costs and get in Dominic Calvert-Lewin? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The main focus now, as it has been for the last, month, is Bryan Mbeumo getting that deal over the line, even though this deadline is on the verge of passing. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to be back later on today with the Paddock podcast. Make sure, if you're not doing already, you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. I've got loads of video content coming up. Why am I talking like I'm from the 80s? Loads of content coming up this week. Also in the members section, got a big video coming up there. So if you are able to support us on the members section, please do. I'm Jay Moy. This has been the Paper Talk outside pretty mild Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.